Welcome friends to One Stop Java Solutions. I am Snehasis and today I am going to explain you all the modifiers in Java and at which level they are applicable, like class level or variable level or method level. Okay, so first I am creating one class. Here you can see this is there is one package, that my package YouTube demo, and inside this package I am creating one class. Okay, and giving the name, class name should be start in capital letters, so modifier demo. Okay, and creating the main method as well. In my last video you can see that I already mentioned what is the access, what is modifier, and what is difference between modifier and access specifier, and why Java doesn't support the naming convention access specifiers. Okay, so here whatever we are using here, all are the access modifiers, only modifiers, not access modifiers. Okay, so which modifier Java supports? So first I am creating one list. Okay, so private, then default means nothing, means if you not mentioned anything then it is treated as a default. So default. Okay, then private, default, then protected. Okay, protected, and then public. Okay, public, then there is a static. Okay, static, then final. Okay, static, final, then abstract. Abstract, then synchronized, NIZED, synchronized. Okay, then synchronized, then we can strict FOP, STRICT, strict FP, strict FP, then it is native, then it is transient, then it is volatile. Okay, so these are the all. Okay, okay, so these are the list of all modifiers. Okay, so okay, now we will show you which modifiers is applicable at what level. Suppose, so I have created one class here, that public class modifier. So here you can see that public modifiers we can use at class level. Okay, so I am showing from the top. So first I am trying to do the private. So here you can see it's giving error. Illegal modifiers for the class modifiers, they were only public, abstract and final are permitted. Okay, so here means this is the outer class. Okay, or the topmost class. So in the topmost class you cannot, or outermost class you cannot use the private. Okay, if you try to use it then compiler will give you the error. Okay, so private you cannot do, default you can do. If you remove it, okay, so here you can see default, so default is allowed. Protected, if you try, if you give protected here, it's also not allowed. Okay, here you can see that public, abstract and final are permitted. So protected is not, public is allowed here. Static, if you give the static here, so here you can see the same, static also you cannot use. So final, if you write final here, then it will allow. So class level, here I am writing that outer class, outer class. So outer class, what is allowed? Private is not allowed, default is allowed, okay, protected is not allowed, public is allowed, static is not allowed, final is allowed, okay, then abstract, abstract will allow here. So here if you see abstract, then no issues. So abstract is allowed here. Synchronized, this is not allowed here. Okay, synchronized you cannot use here. Stripped FOP you cannot, stripped FP also you cannot use. Strict FP, yeah, strict FP we can use, yeah. So strict FP we can use. So this means what is the function of these modifiers. Okay, so those I will explain later. So today I will only explain you which modifiers is applicable at what level. Then native, so, if you use native here, so it will not allow here. Okay, transient, it's also, it's basically we can use in variable level. Okay, and volatile, volatile, okay, so that also not allowed. So here you can see that default, public, final, abstract and stripped FP. Okay, so these are the 5 modifiers, 1 2 3 4 5. So these 5 modifiers is applicable, okay, for the outer class or topmost class. Okay, so your topmost class, you can apply only these modifiers: default, public, final, abstract and stripped FP. Okay, then if we go for inner class. Okay, so if we this is one class, and inside this class if we write something, another class class name is inner class, inner and I am giving camel case. So here in Java we will use to define any variable or class name, you can use the camel case structure. Like here you can see that the class is capital. So this is the convention, and industry also follows the same rule. Okay, so naming convention basically. So this is the inner class. Okay, so here you cannot use the volatile, I am just writing public. Okay, so now what variable will inner class will allow? So here you can see I have not mentioned anything, so that means default is allowed, inner class. So here I nothing mentioned anything, so default is allowed, no problem. Okay, and so I am going for from fast. So private, I am taking the private, and if I give the private, yes, this is allowed. So for inner class private is allowed, but outer class it is not. So first I am writing the private, I am going through this sequence only. Okay, so private is allowed, default is allowed. Okay, protected, if we write protected here, so that also allowed. Okay, so protected it also allowed. Okay, then public obviously it would be allowed here, so public is also allowed. Okay, then static allowed, final is allowed, final, then abstract abstract also allowed. Okay, so here you can see whatever access whatever modifiers you can apply at outer class, all are applicable inner class as well, and in addition some others also we can apply here. Okay, so abstract, then synchronized will not allowed, strict p, strict f is allowed. Okay, because it also allowed at the outermost class. Native is not allowed. So if you try here, you can see that illegal modifiers for the member class, inner class, only public, protected, private, abstract, static, final are permitted. Okay, and apart from that strict fp also apply, you can apply. And these two, transient and volatile, these also not allowed, because these we are means only at variable level you can use these two, transient and volatile. Okay, so if you try to use here, it will give you the error. Okay, so it's clear now. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, so these 8 are applicable at inner class level. Okay, and here outer class level you can see 1 2 3 4 5 only. So this 5 means default is here allowed, means whatever modifier you can apply at outer class, all are applicable at inner class as well. And apart from that, or in addition, you can use private, okay, protected, private, protected, and static. Okay, these three, okay, in addition you can use here as well. Okay, so these are the modifiers that we can use in inner class and outer class. Then I'll show you that constructor. Okay, so if I write here constructor, so constructor name should be same as with class name. So there should no return type, so modifier demo, and there would be no return type. Okay, so this is the constructor of this class. So in this constructor you can use default, you can see it's used, you can use. Okay, public, if you use here public, yes, that is also applicable. Public is applicable, default is applicable, private, private, private is also applicable. So here if you write constructor, constructor, so private is allowed, private is applicable here. Okay, default is applicable here, default is applicable here, protected, protected also applicable here. Okay, protected is applicable here, and public. Apart from that you cannot use anything. Public constructor also applicable, so public is applicable here. Okay, so constructor level you can use these four. Apart from that, if you write anything, then it will not allow you. Okay, so if you write static constructor, then here you can see only public, protected, private are permitted. Okay, and default is permitted also. So these four only permitted, means only applicable at constructor level. Okay, so private, default, protected, and public. Okay, so these four are applicable at constructor level. Okay, then we are method, we are writing here one method and giving the name as suppose void suppose display, void display. Okay, so this is one method. So then I am writing here method. Okay, so at method level, what is applicable? Method level, these all are applicable, not all, because last two are the for only method. Okay, so I am doing two things, method and variable. Okay, so method level and as well as variable level, I am showing you both simultaneously. Variable. Okay, so here I am writing int, suppose x. So this is one variable. Okay, so method level, if you use the private, and variable level, variable means you for con means not convention, but in oops concept, if you follow the proper oops concept, then always you have to write the variable as private, and you have to use those variable from outside this class using setter and getter method. Okay, so this is the good practice, or this is the oops concept. Okay, for encapsulation as well as data hiding. Okay, so private you can apply at both level, at method as well as variable. Okay, then go for default. So if you remove it, then default is also allowed, default is also allowed for both. Okay, so this is also applicable, default at both level, um, method and variable, default. Then protected. Okay, protected is also applicable here. Protected is applicable at method as well as variable level. Okay, so it's also applicable, protected, both level. Okay, protected. Then public is also applicable at both level. So if you write here public, and at variable level also you can apply public, no problem. Okay, so public is applicable at both level. Then static variable you can use, static, and static method also you can use. Okay, so static is also applicable at both level. Okay, static. Then final. Okay, so if you allow use final here, then you have to must initialize this value. Okay, because you cannot change means add final variable at the time of initialization only, means at the time of declaration you have to initialize, after that you cannot change the value of this variable. Okay, so for that means these are both that's why you have to just initialize, you can apply in both cases. Okay, means both level, variable and method. Okay, final you can use. Abstract. Normal cases you cannot use abstract as method level, but if you read the message carefully, that you also can use abstract, but in that case you have to, means class also you have to abstract class modifiers. Okay, so abstract method do not specify a body, so as at method level. Okay, but variable level you cannot use the abstract. Okay, so final, in both cases you can use. Okay, so here I am adding the method level you can use the abstract, final you can use in both level. Okay, so final you can use in both level, but variable level you cannot use abstract. Okay, so abstract class can use, if you made the class as abstract, then you can use the method also abstract, and abstract method should not means don't have any body, and whatever class will implement this method, means this method, or this class, this abstract class, that class will define this method. Okay, so abstract is used applicable as method level. Okay, then synchronized is applicable at method level. Okay, so method level you can use synchronized, but variable level you cannot use synchronized. So synchronized is not allowed at variable level. Okay, so here you have to remove it. So synchronized method level synchronized is applicable, but at variable level it is not applicable. Okay, then strict FP. Strict FP, if you use at variable level it is not applicable, and here method level it's applicable. Okay, so method level it is applicable, strict. Then native. Native method is allowed in here, but if you use it native method don't specify a body. Okay, so here also you, if you remove this part, okay, just do only blank semicolon here, so native method you can use, but native variable method is applicable, but for native method don't have any bodies. Okay, and if you use the native as variable level, so it is not allowed. Okay, native variable is not allowed. Okay, then transient and volatile. So transient and volatile are all are applicable at variable level. Okay, so here if you try to apply, so it will give you error, transient is not applicable here. Okay, so transient, here you can see the error message, it's not applicable. Okay, and then volatile also it's used. So here, okay, strict FP at variable, here right, transient and then volatile. Here if you write the volatile, so volatile is applicable at variable level, and here if you write the volatile method, then it will not allowed. Okay, so volatile is also applicable at variable level. Okay, so it's clear that at method level you can use private. Okay, so method level what you can use, method level private you can use default, protected, public, static, final, abstract, synchronized, and strict FP. All are applicable at method level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, how many are there? I guess one is missing. Private, default, protected, public, static, final, abstract, synchronized, strict FP, and native also applicable, but you have to use the means no module. Okay, that is missing here, native. Okay, strict FP and native, so these all are applicable at method level. Okay, this 10, and at variable level private, default, protected, public, static, final, transient, volatile, these 8 are applicable. Okay, so these are the list basically, and so whatever I have covered, that outer class is covered, inner class is covered, method is covered, variable is covered, and constructor is covered. Okay, apart from that there is some other things like interface. Okay, interface, once I describe what is interface and interface topics, and after that I will show you the what means about interface, and also there is one thing, that enum. Okay, so that also I will cover later, because these two I haven't yet described what is interface and how it will use, and also the enum as well I haven't yet described, so that I will cover later. So as of now you can see that these are the list of all modifiers. Okay, and among this list, in outer class these modifiers are applicable. Okay, in inner class you can apply these modifiers. Okay, and for constructor also you can use these 4 only: public, private, protected, and default. And method level you can use these 10 modifiers. Okay, and variable level also you can use these 8 modifiers. Okay, so hope now it is um, understandable for you that what modifiers you can use at which level. Okay, so thanks for watching this video, and also if you means not yet seen the basic concept, means what is modifier and what is access specifier and why everything in Java is access modifier. So that I already have described in my previous video, so you can go there and watch. Also you can see in the description box my channel link is there, so you can go there and you can watch the relevant videos whatever you want.